Hi, I'm Jim Knotts, President and CEO of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund. Welcome to today's virtual reading of the names. 2022 marks the 40th anniversary of the dedication of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C. As part of our commemoration, we'll host an in-person reading of the names at the wall from November 7th through 10th, 2022, when all 58,281 names on the wall will be read aloud. In the lead up to that event, we'll be reading names each day online while sharing the photos of these heroes. For our daily virtual reading, the names of the service members will be read by month and day of death between the years 1956 and 1975 in alphabetical order for the given day. We apologize in advance for any mispronunciations. Know that our readers are doing their best to honor these service members. We hope you'll listen and watch each day and share with others as we remember and honor those who gave their lives during the Vietnam War.
Terry Michael Abbott, Woodrow William Adams, William John Allen, John Robert Allison, Clinton Russell Anderson, Samuel Lee Anderton, Solomon David Arline Jr., Earl Chuimon Ahoy, John Robert Baird Jr., Craig Arlen Bauer, Robert Louis Beaton, Roger Jerome Bernier, William G. Bobbitt, Larry Joe Boehm, Maurice Bogelis, Edward William Bolin, Terence M. Bozart, Morris Branham II, Robert Raymond Brett, Jerry Kapua Breiter, Warren Richard Brown, Clarence Arthur Brown, Fred Butler III, William Thomas Callery, Dwight Stanley Campbell, Richard Hugh Kasub, David Joe Cavis, David Andrew Chacon, Alexander Shelf Chin, Norman Philip Chittister, Harold Lynn Chitwood, William J. Chrisman III,
Kendall Hanson Clark, Wayne Douglas Clements, Charles William Klein, Theodore Coxum, Michael Stephen Collins, James Stephen Coombs, Richard Aguirre Contreras, Howard Max Cox, Larry Charles Cox, David Arthur Kramer, Michael Lee Cruz, Ronald Gay Curtis, Terrence Michael Dale, Douglas O'Neill Davis, Billy Brown Day, John Francis Dedek, Robert Ellis Dooley, Jan Dean Doxey, George Edward Dush, Andrew Joseph Dazinski, Owen Ray Emery, Charles Edwin Engel, Ezekiel Theodore Exum, James Leonard Fain, Thomas Edward Falk, Frank Nunez Figueroa, Gregory William Fisher, Dale Charles Fisher, Lindsay Frank Fauner, Frederick C. Fort Jr., Julius Cartwright Foster, Larry Eugene Fowler, Arthur Donald Frederick, Robert Dean Frost, Francisco Garcia, Gary William Garris, Edward W. Jarrow, Danny Lynn Gilstrup, George Bryant Givens, Jr., William Allen Gleixner, Miguel A. Gonzalez Rivera, Alan Ray Graham, Henry Herndon Graham, Alan George Griffin, Edward Sheridan Gum, Ronald Joaquin Hamilton, Monty Lewis Harbin, Ronald Lynn Harkey, Calvin Raymond Hebert Jr., Randall Allen Hensey, Lee Roy Heron, Ronald Lee Hill, Richard Preston Hodges, James Larry Holland, Clayton Kenneth Huff, Jr., John Edward Ishman, Willie Jackson, David William Janish, Mark Ardell Genuine, Anthony Lee Johnson, William Earl Johnson, Sr., Robert Morris Jones, Victor Modesto Auvert, Walter Aloysius Joyce,
John Albert Julia, Albert Kaplan, James Anthony Koch, Carl Noel Cosma, Timothy Michael Cranchan, Leo Frederick Crumbine, Robert Charles Crum, Robert William Kuhn, Frederick W. Kulicki III, Robert David Law, John Robert Lawrence, Liston Raphael Leonard, Frederick Eric Leopold, Roland Philip Levesque, Jackie Lee Llewellyn, William Clive Ling, Nathan Charles Lunapiana, Robert Louis Mack, Charles Macco, Frank Jesse Lee Madrid, Daniel W. Margrave II, Dennis Philip Martin, Bruce Edward Martin, George Eli Maddox, Ralph Arden Maxim, Jr., Victor Garnett McCall, Billy Ray McCall, William C. McConnell IV, John Richard McCord, Albert McCullough, Michael William McDonald, Herman McGee,
Gregory McIntyre, George Merdink, Jr., Larry Gene Mitchell, William June Moore, Thomas Richard Moore, Jr., Daniel Eugene Moore, Jr., Robert Jr. Neal, Joe Melvin Neal, Michael Joseph Nemchik, Victor Lee Nettles, Jr., Elvain Ennis Nius, Bernard John Novak, Patrick Edward O'Brien, Lawrence P. O'Toole II, Adan Monsiváis Olvera, George William Ofsak, Wingfield Page, Jr., Thomas Arthur Palladino, William Bryce Parnell, Donald Elmer Paxton, Wayne Edward Pearson, David John Palosma, Ricardo James Perez, Joseph Howard Pierce, Jr., Richard Pollard, Larry Dean Powell, William Maxwell Powers, Cornelius Presley, Alfred Alexander Purvis, Fred Reeves, Jr., James Thomas Riley, John Wilson Roberts III, Bruce Elton Robinson, Kenneth Wayne Roche, Randall Lee Rogers, Gerald Bruce Rose, Donald Vincent Saller, Richard Lee Sarvis, George Joseph Schultz, Kenneth David Scott, Edward Earl Scott, Jr., Robert B. Selby, Robert Sellers, Hector Louis Semide, Leslie Homer Schaefer, Thomas Glenn Shepard, Robert Lee Scholl, Carrie Carson Smith, Jerry Walton Smith, Charles A. Southard III, James Arthur Starley, Paul Leo Stewart, Bruce Allen Swaim, William Blair Terrence, Joe Kenneth Taylor, John Willie Thomas, Alan Thomas, Bobby Daniel Timmons, Lee G. Tully, Richard Earl Toney, Robert William Topham, Jr., Kevin Edward Tweedle, Homer Urabazo, Michael Lewis Utley,
David Wayne Utley, Reggie Lee Vance, John David Vaughn, Craig Stephen Vout, Alexander Vidals, Michael Allen Voss, Michael James Wagner, Jan Bernard Wall, Renna Charles Webster, Ronald Clifton Weems, Jean Joseph Wheat, Thomas Earl Whitaker, Alonzo William White, Clarence Williams, Malcolm George Williams, Lloyd Meredith Wilson, Douglas James Winchell, Jr., Danny Keith Witt, Wesley Lee Woodford, Edward Lewell Worthington, Gerald Raisin, Emil John Wirtz, Tommy Lloyd Wyatt, Robert Martin Higuera, Salvador Zabala, Jr., Edward Zamora,